All right, man. Sean Porter says Demetrius Andrade beats Jermall Charlo. And also, we're going to talk about possibly Terrence Crawford taking on Jermell Charlo. Is that like Charlo's biggest money fight that can happen? Let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And let's start off with Jermall Charlo. Well, Sean Porter and his team said they think Demetrius beat him. He said without him even putting his bias in there because him and Demetrius is close and they spar a lot. And I think he beat Demetrius in the amateurs as well, too. Sean Porter beat a lot of people in the amateurs, but that just lets you know the difference between the amateurs and the pros. But yeah, I think Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade is the fight to make for 160-pound supremacy. We know Canelo Alvarez had opportunities to fight both of them. He refused to fight both of them. He can't really drain Demetrius Andrade at all. Andrade seems to always be in shape, especially with all his inactivity. And we know Triple G been called out by both. Even PBC tried to get Triple G to come over and fight Jermall Charlo in a 2-fight deal. And he said no. So for those saying Canelo ain't never won an honest fight, in the elite level fight. You know, you go to a Trout, you go to Mayweather, he has split decision, Lara, any of this elite, Golovkin, you know what I'm saying? Even Kovalev, he was old and had an asterisk by it because some people think Kovalev took a dive. So Canelo has never been an elite fighter without an advantage. So for those who want to sit out here and cry Canelo name, tell me somebody he beat without having an advantage. That's elite. He hasn't. Even with Amir Khan, he had to have an advantage by making Amir Khan come up to 155 and rehydrating up to damn near cruiserweight according to Amir Khan. So he's not even in the conversation. He is not beating elite level foe without the help of his promotional company, commission, or other things like VADA. Okay, so Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo is a 160-pound supremacy fight. I don't care what the Triple G fans say. He didn't want to fight either one. I don't care what the Canelo fans say. He don't want to fight nobody without an advantage before they even get in the ring. And I think, you know, look what Sean Porter said, that the Charlos have people who move and make them think. And I think you've seen that with Rosario. Rosario was making Jermell think. He was landing some shots in. We've seen that with Matt Korobov where he sat back and he countered Jermall Charlo and made him think. So, you know, like I said before, Demetrius Andrade, we have not seen him fight elite level competition. We know Jermall could take big shots from big fighters. We know he fought J-Rocks, he fought the Trouts, he fought really good competition compared to Demetrius Andrade. What we don't know about Andrade is if he can take it on the chops. You know, we know Andrade can box, but if he has to, can he fight his way out? And I think his power a little bit underrated because he don't really known as a power puncher, sit down the shots. He knocked down Lucky in the first round. And we know he can move forward and box, but, you know, the question is, you know, he got to be perfect for 12 rounds. I don't see him hurting or dropping Jermall Charlo. He would have to outbox him. He does probably have the arm reach advantage. I think he got like a couple inches on height. So it'll be an interesting fight, you know, for him. You know, Charlo will have to really hit him. And I think with Charlo jab might cause him some trouble, but it'll be a fight that probably be won in the middle of the ring. You know, and I could see Charlo being behind on cars and landing something to hurt Demetrius Andrade. So, to be honest, we just don't know how good Demetrius Andrade is. Because he didn't fight Lara, he didn't fight Jermell, he pulled out. He didn't get to fight Canelo. He fought Vanez and got dropped. I think it was more of a feet tangling. But off that, people think he very, very chinny. And I think it's truly a 50-50 fight. I said it before then, and people said, well, then Jermall turned down the fight. Well, that was the word on the street. He turned down $7 and $10 million from Eddie. They even offered to send Demetrius Andrade over there, you know, and PBC never got back to him. We seen Rodney Shields say Andrade is a good fighter, but what did he bring to the table? And he obviously had a belt. So if PBC not acknowledging the WBO belt, it's just not a fight they probably going to bark up. But I understand they're going to move him up. He get ready for David Benavidez, and I think that's a fight they can most definitely win. But I also like to see him versus Danny Jacobs. But I think if you want to solidify himself at 160 pounds, you need to unify with Demetrius Andrade, and I think it's a winnable fight, you know, on both ends. You know, Charlo, you know, showed the great ability to box, but he has showed trouble to fight southpaws. Korobov, Trout, and Demetrius Andrade is, you know, probably the best southpaw he going to fight from an ability standpoint of view. And, you know, it's just going to be, I think it's going to be Demetrius Andrade, you know, pressing forward and trying to be aggressive, to be honest. And I think who it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say because just don't know. Well, we don't think Andrade can hurt Charlo. We know Charlo probably can hurt Andrade, but he's a slick fighter, man. But, you know, the time ticking, they need to get that fight done. I think that's a fight that can kind of punch their ticket to a neat level with the hardcore fans and try to open up some eyes in the casual fan standpoint of view. But it's a tremendous fight. It's a fight that boxing deserves. It does deserve an audience. So if we able to have full capacity, that's a fight that PBC should look to make. I know they're probably gonna try to throw Jermall Charlo in there with Chris Eubanks Jr. next. That's cool. He earned that after a tough fight with Sergey Derevchenko, who's moving down to 54 pounds. If you haven't heard, but also that's a good way to get ready, for Demetrius Andrade fight. So next year, if they have some fans in the summertime, it should be Charlo versus Andrade. That's a good fight, and I think he can go either way. Now, Jermell Charlo's been some talk, that, maybe Terrence Crawford should fight him. And the biggest question when you got a guy moving up in that weight jump, with you putting 2 ounces extra on his gloves, and also, he moving up 7 pounds, that he could take the power. I think the Oscar De La Hoya fight is more realistic for Jermell Charlo than the Terrence Crawford fight. Crawford has the ability to outpoint him, but I don't think he can hurt him. And I also think, I'm not sure he could take that punishment at 154. Floyd made it look easy moving up, hit and don't get hit versus Canelo, but it's a different breed. But, that probably is his biggest money fight. But I don't think it's going to happen for a couple reasons. For one, obviously Crawford got to get something done at 47 with some of the PBC welterweights. And for that same reason, I don't think PBC will let him fight Jermell Charlo, even if they feel that he can win. And then, that will make Errol Spence look bad. But that's one of his biggest money fights right now is Terrence Crawford. Or anybody that move up from 47, even Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, even those guys, those is his money fights. You go up to 60, who can he beat? Golovkin not going to fight him. Obviously, Canelo not going to fight him. He fought James Kirkland instead of him back in the day. So, he really don't have a lot of money fights, to really cross him over. He in a division where there's not an elite level fighter there. All his elite fights is going to come from below. So it's, Crawford, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, guys of that nature. He's not going to fight Errol Spence because they close and they got the same coach. So where is this elite level fight coming from where he can make some money? It's only Terrence Crawford, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. Pacquiao not moving up. So, like I said, other than that, it's Oscar De La Hoya. Him and Oscar De La Hoya will sell some real tickets, especially Oscar coming back and getting a crack at the lineal belt. Oscar wait till he get all 4 major belts in he got the lineal, then maybe Oscar De La Hoya do it. But really, Jermell Charlo at a division where there ain't been a lot of, pay-per-view head honchos at that division, and that's the difference. He need a fight that can get him that bag, and I think De La Hoya is probably the fight that can get him that. It's sad that he would have to fight an old De La Hoya. Anytime a fighter like De La Hoya coming out of retirement, he got to be having money issues. But like I said, Crawford and some of those other welterweights, they the only ones that bring the bag and the clout. Out of the welterweights, who got the best chance of beating them? To be honest, it's tough. You probably think about Sean and Keith. They came from 54. Keith can box, but, you just got to ask yourself, when you fight a Charlo twin, can you get disrespect with your power? And can you not get hit by those big looping shots or them big loaded up shots that Jermell throw? That's the $1 million question when you're going in a fight with a guy like that. So, for Jermell, he don't have a money fight. It's De La Hoya or a welterweight. Other than that, you go up to 60. It's no fights for there. You only getting fights from guys that's coming to 47. So his 47-pounder is going to have to get him the fights where Oscar De La Hoya going to have to get him the fights he's looking for. But, to go on, he still got the belts. But then again, he in a division where ain't no elite talent there. Ain't no pay-per-view pool there. And that's sad, though, man, that, he truly not going to get that test. But hopefully some of those welterweights move up and give him the opportunity to, to fight. But until then, it got to be, getting Castanos. He said he don't think Teixeira will fight him. I think Teixeira will. Goldenboy don't have no other choice. But he's fighting Castanos. So we'll see. If Castanos get the belt and they make Castanos and Charlo, we'll see what happens. But I think, De La Hoya, Crawford, Sean, and Keith are actually his biggest fights to be made financially. But if he don't get those guys, then he just going to be doing what he do. He's going to trade in water for the next 2 weight classes. And his brother Jermall, it's really never been a super pay-per-view pool at 68 neither. So they just landed in the wrong weight classes for pay-per-view pools. But they knocking people dick in the dirt. So we'll see what happens. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, query, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation to the channel. Cash App is CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. Appreciate the love, support. One time for the one time. It's your boy CJ Goodfella, Goodfella Sports TV. We gone.